It's tarot time.
Tonight, we unravel a story written in glass. Not the kind that breaks loudly, the kind that breaks silently inside a man who finally understands what he cannot have. In the city of Toledo, where lanterns flickered against stone walls and knowledge passed between cultures like whispered secrets, there lived an alchemist named Yusuf Sal. He was a man who believed in transformation, not the cheap kind, not tricks, real transformation, the kind that could turn weakness into strength, fear into certainty, lead into gold. For 20 years he had chased it. His hands bore the proof, burn scars along his fingers, ink stains beneath his nails, and the faint tremor of exhaustion he hid from everyone but himself. Each night he worked alone. Except on this night. Several mirrors stood in his workshop. They had arrived wrapped in velvet, carried by a traveler who refused payment. They already belonged to him, the traveler had said. Yusuf had laughed at the time. He did not laugh now, because the mirrors were no longer reflecting his present. They were reflecting his future. He stepped toward the first, the mirror of gold. In its surface, Yusuf stood taller, older, dressed in robes embroidered with silver thread. Kings bowed their heads to him. Gold flowed from his hands like water. The voice echoed in the chamber.
I did it. I became indispensable.
Yusuf's heart pounded. He could feel the weight of power, the safety of being needed. He stepped to the second mirror, the mirror of youth. His reflection stood there unchanged by time, his back straight, his face unlined, his body untouched by decay.
I escaped it. I escaped death.
His throat tightened. He had buried too many friends, watched too many brilliant minds disappear into dust. He stepped to the third mirror, the mirror of love, a small home, sunlight, a table set for two. Miriam sat across from him, older now, her eyes softer but still sharp. She laughed.
You're late.
His reflection smiled in a way Yusuf had never seen in himself. Not triumphant, content. His chest ached. He had never allowed himself that life, never allowed himself her. He moved faster now, the mirror of power. He stood beside rulers, whispering decisions that shaped nations. The mirror of legacy, his name carved into marble. His work studied centuries after his death. The mirror of illumination, a quiet room, students leaning forward, listening, not to his wealth, not to his power, but to his truth. Yusuf staggered backward. 7 lives, 7 versions of himself, all real, all possible. And then, from behind him, a familiar voice.
You look like a man who has seen his own ghost.
He turned. Miriam stood in the doorway, her arms crossed. Her eyes moved to the mirrors. She did not gasp. She did not tremble. She only asked one question.
Which one frightens you the most?
Yusuf swallowed.
None of them frighten me.
She stepped closer.
No. That isn't true.
She pointed to the mirrors.
They frighten you because you cannot have them all.
The word struck him harder than any blow. He turned back to the reflections. Each one pulled at him. Each one promised something different: security, freedom, love, meaning. He reached toward the mirror of gold. His reflection smiled wider.
You deserve this.
His hand trembled. Then he reached toward the mirror of love. That reflection said nothing. It only waited. His chest tightened. His voice broke.
I don't know which one is real.
And for the first time, Miriam's voice softened.
They are all real.
He looked at her.
Then how do I choose?
She held his gaze.
You don't choose what is real. You choose who you are willing to become.
Silence filled the room, because in that moment, Yusuf understood something no alchemist ever wanted to admit. Every transformation requires loss. Gold required sacrifice. Power required isolation. Love required surrender. Wisdom required obscurity. To gain one life, he would have to bury 6 others. His breathing grew shallow. His reflection in the mirror of power leaned forward.
You will never be forgotten. I promise.
His reflection in the mirror of love simply stood there, waiting, not promising anything, not seducing him, just waiting. He stepped closer to it, closer, closer, until his fingertips touched the glass. The surface was warm, alive. Behind him, the other mirrors began to crack. Thin fractures spread across their surfaces. His heart raced. He could still turn back. He could still change his mind. The mirror of gold called out.
You will regret this.
The mirror of legacy whispered.
You will disappear.
His chest tightened. Fear wrapped around his throat. But then the reflection of Miriam reached out, not the Miriam behind him, the Miriam in the mirror. Her voice was soft.
We will still grow old.
His eyes filled with tears, not because of what he was gaining, but because of what he was losing. He pressed his hand fully against the glass. Behind him, the 6 other mirrors shattered, not violently, not cruelly, but finally. The sound was quiet, like the closing of doors. When the last shard fell, the room was still. Only one mirror remained. Only one future remained. Yusuf stood there trembling, not triumphant, not certain, but committed. Because the greatest illusion is not the dream itself. It is believing you can live without choosing. Many spend their lives standing before 7 mirrors. They touch none of them. They commit to none of them, and in doing so, they lose all of them. The 7 of Cups is not about illusion. It is about the moment illusion ends, the moment you realize clarity is not comfort. Clarity is responsibility, because once you see your possible lives clearly, you cannot pretend you didn't see them. And the question is no longer what is possible. The question becomes, which life are you brave enough to choose? And which lives are you brave enough to release forever? If you were standing before those 7 mirrors tonight, which one would you touch? Tell me in the comments. And more importantly, what would it cost you?